For many, Galidor is a LEGO scene that does not need an introduction. But I'm gonna do it anyway. You see, to really understand the origins of this weird LEGO scene with these McDonald's looking goobers, I actually think it might have been McDonald's promos, I don't really know. We have to go back to the early 2000s, where LEGO was not doing so hot. They were not doing very good. Back then, LEGO didn't really know what to do. They kept experimenting with all these weird, goofy themes, and basically doing everything but just being LEGO and doing the block toy that they're known for. And one of those experiments was Galidor, a IP that LEGO seemed to have had a lot of confidence in. Funny enough, it was one of LEGO's first, multimedia project LEGO themes. Obviously not the first, but it was the first one to try to be something bigger than just a LEGO theme. With a whole TV show and everything to go along with it, Galidor was being hyped up to be this big thing. And it wasn't. It did not go well at all. Nowadays, Galidor is remembered for just being one of the worst LEGO themes ever created, pretty much, and being a meme amongst all LEGO enjoyers. Now, obviously, Galidor didn't end LEGO as we know it because of a little scene called Bionicle, which was so up not too long after and revived the company, but Galidor came pretty close to being the nail in the coffin for the company. And one part of the history of Galidor that's overlooked quite a bit is the TV series. You see, Galidor had a stupidly long TV series that went on for just so many episodes, way more than it needed to. A live-action high school adventure series, kinda. It's mostly looked at as this early 2000s relic of the past, and not much more than that. So in today's video, I want to take a deeper look at the Galidor TV series and see if there was some hidden gold in this theme after all. Spoiler alert, yes there was. This series is really goofy. I think we can get a good understanding of how this series is going to be with the first episode of Season 1, just titled Identity. Now, the opening of this episode is just amazing. It is insane. It is so, all over the place and silly. The first minute 40 of this episode has the most interesting, weird, creative designs I have seen for these goofy monsters. They look like something out of early Star Trek or Doctor Who. What is that? You should know that I'm a pretty big connoisseur of bad media. I really like fun bad media. To a point, obviously, there's a point where it gets so bad that it's just unwatchable or unplayable. The first few minutes of Galidor is definitely in the ballpark of being so bad that it ends up being really goofy and good. Because, what is even happening? This is amazing. This might be cinema. Sadly, after that, the main issue of the show arrives, and that's that the show is really boring when it's doing stuff that isn't goofy monster and really bad CGI. When they're trying to do character development and build up this kid's high school life of him just correcting a teacher, and then the teacher getting really mad at him for no reason. It's not fun bad or interesting, it's just really boring and annoying. Also, why is this so edited like this? Like, sometimes the show will just speed up randomly, or it'll be, like, lagging is the best way I could say. Like, I don't think it's just this form that it's archived in, but it like lags. The frames are like all weird and messed up. I don't know what happened here. Or sometimes the episode will just straight up go into like 2x speed for like a second and then go back to normal speed. I guess they saw that the scene of them walking was going on for too long, so they had to speed it up. But, like, there's also so many scenes to where it's just minutes on end of one character talking, and then cutting to another character talking, and then they just do that for a few minutes, and they're all just saying nonsense that doesn't mean anything or matter. At the 5-minute 30 mark, our protagonist dies. Not really, but this is a really goofy scene that doesn't really mean anything or do anything. It's trying to do character development, but it just comes off just so silly. Like, bro, why is it edited like this? Like, you see what I mean, right? Like, this doesn't make any sense. What is happening? Our protagonist has a heart-to-heart with his grandpa, which is, like, weird, kinda. I mean, it's a fine heart-to-heart, but it's, like, it's interrupted by this absolutely goofy shot of just the moon. The moon. Okay, now this is actually cinema. This is peak cinema. I love this so much. What is that little creature? I kind of want him. Like, I just want to have that. Like, this is such a silly creature. I don't even know. I love the character designs in this. They're so silly and almost nonsensical, but I mean, they're creative, so I'll give the show props for that. Protagonist wakes up from his dream to find a little floating map of sorts, and the protagonist and their sidekick, I guess, this woman who's just here, but she's not really doing much. She's just here to complain, basically, and that's all she's really in the show for. They go on this goofy little adventure to find this really silly-looking spaceship. They travel to another dimension, the Galidor dimension, which is just amazing. And they meet sexist C-3PO, which I don't know why they made the robot sexist, but I mean, okay.
You know, this kind of thing doesn't just happen to me, so...
It was quiet here until she showed up.
She's okay once you get to know her.
Why is there a Force ghost? What is that? What is that? Why does it look like that? What? Oh, hey, a Bionicle. That's an interesting, like, foreshadowing. I see some bits of Galidor get reused. I like to think this is like a prototype for Bionicle, and honestly, I kind of see it. Like, I could see some elements of this being reused in Bionicle, especially some of the more goofier robot designs. Like, I see it. Oh no, oh no, oh no, that is a really bad CG arm. So our main hero is like some like protector, great warrior guy that I don't know, he's just a kid. I don't know. I don't think we really need to be looking into it too much, but yeah, now he has to go fight the big Bionicle head and save the day. Go on these goofy adventures and save the day. Yeah, so Galidor, yeah, you can kind of guess where the show is going from here. Just from the first episode, you can tell how silly this is going to be. This has everything you could possibly want of a bad TV show. Early 2000s acting, which is just really bad. Some goofy CG that is just all over the place. And a story that is both nonsensical and hilarious. I am very excited to see how the rest of this show goes. Alright, so I just finished watching the rest of Galidor Season 1, and I don't have much else to say. I really thought this was going to be an interesting, or at least fun bad show when watching episode 1. However, it just ended up being very mediocre. Not even that bad, surprisingly enough. Now, hear me out. I'm not tweaking. The show actually isn't horrible. Like, it has good moments. It at least tries character development and, you know, actual characterization, which I have to appreciate. Clearly, there's people who cared about this show and wanted it to succeed. This was not just done haphazardly. There somewhere was someone who cared about Galidor, because it shows. This show, unironically, has some pretty crazy and pretty good moments, which is pretty surprising. You know, I never expected that, especially after watching the first episode. Now, don't get me wrong, there is still some insane stuff that happens in this show, and I mean some insane stuff. I don't even know if I can show this, or if I want to show this, because it is very uncomfortable. But I think this outcome is like the worst possible outcome. You see, me and many other people on the internet are big enjoyers of bad media. There's a lot of people who love just bad, horrible media. One of my favorite movies to rewatch if I just want to laugh at something bad is a little movie called Fantastic, which, with all the Fantastic Four hype, is it's becoming a cult classic at this point. I love that movie. It is so bad and so hilarious. It's honestly amazing. This isn't like that. This is actually just the most generic, normal, or bad CGI early 2000s show. And at the end of the day, I can see why there is a fan base for this show, because yes, there is a very, very small, but loud fan base for this show. Mostly people who watched it when they were a kid and have nostalgia for it, because they caught like one episode on BBC, but that's to be expected with about every show. But overall, I just ended up being very bored most of the time while watching Galidor Season 1, because there's just not much happening, nothing insane happening, nothing so hilariously bad, or nothing outrageously good either. It was just there. I was just watching the most normal show ever made. But overall, for the most part, Galidor is just so incredibly generic, and I think that is what really sealed its fate. At the time this was made, LEGO did not need this, okay? I think especially after watching this, I understand why Bionicle revived LEGO a lot more, because Bionicle was just off the walls, okay? That went insane. That went crazy, dude. Like, the lore for Bionicle is so insane and amazing. I love it so much. It was the complete opposite of just this generic, just normal show. It was doing so much more and so much different that I think it really helped revive LEGO a lot more than this generic early 2000s show ever really could. But do not worry, we're not done, because somehow, in some way, Galidor got a Season 2. Now, I don't know why this happened. I genuinely don't. I think they just greenlit 2 seasons, and after the first season did, like, nothing, they just had to finish up their run, so they did a second season. So I'm interested to see if the quality declined at all with Season 2, if it got better, or maybe I'll finally get that really fun bad show that I was expecting from Galidor. Let's go right ahead and take a look at Galidor Season 2. Galidor Season 2 is, for the most part, more of the same. Honestly, I don't have too much to say about Season 2. The earlier part of the season is just your standard Galidor fare, some silly side quests here and there. The main character dies in the first episode and becomes a ghost, which, that's one way to start off the season. Which, by the way, I didn't mention this in the season 1 bit, but I should mention it now. The main character's name is Nick Bluetooth. Why? Why is he named that? Is he stupid? What is that name, dog? There's another episode where Nick Bluetooth meets another Nick Bluetooth from an alternate dimension. But honestly, season 2 gets a lot more interesting when they have their little return to Earth arc. Dude, one of the main characters gets kidnapped by the government and sent to Area 51. And there's an Area 51 prison break episode. Like, what? Dog, you'll never see LEGO do this again. Like, this is insane. LEGO tackling Area 51? Aliens? The Roswell incident? What is happening? By the way, the Area 51 episode is by far the most insane and best episode of this entire show. Even if you're not interested in this or don't really care, I really recommend going and watching that episode because it is cinema. It is absolute cinema. It is everything I thought the show would be. Like, genuinely one of the most fun, bad things I've ever witnessed in my life. I love this episode. It is truly amazing. And then there is the 2-part finale, which is so, weird, I guess is a way to describe it. Basically, you're trying to stop Gorm from opening the gates of Galidor, or destroying Galidor, or rolling Galidor. We actually don't really know what his motivation is. He keeps flip-flopping on those. I forgot to mention that in the Area 51 episode, we meet this other woman who's just here now. And I don't apparently see she knows Gorm, or she's related to Gorm. Okay. Also, side note, what is Gorm's power? Like, what is his ability? He can create energy balls, but he also has the Force. But, like, kinda not really. He can just vaporize people, but, like, he doesn't do it that often, or really care to do it. In fact, he doesn't even really seem to care about what Nick Bluetooth is even doing, or really respect him at all. In the second to last episode, most of the characters get kidnapped by Gorm, and they're being, like, held hostage or interrogated, but, like, the only form of interrogation Gorm does is just saying, "Hey guys, can you please give me the information? Please?" I mean, you don't have to, but it would be really nice if you did. Like, that's all he does. That's all he does. Bro is not a threat at all. He's just a guy who's slightly emotional for some reason. At the end of the episode, they get sent back to Earth, and Nick Bluetooth finds out there's a little area in his wall. There's a little crawl space in his walls that has a interdimensional travel machine. So they take this wormhole in Nick's bedroom and all the way back to Galidor to stop Gorm once and for all, and he does it by harnessing the power of Galidor and doing whatever this is. This makes me very uncomfortable. So Gorm is seemingly defeated, and Nick gets to reunite with his mother, which is now behind the gate. It is like a whole futuristic city here. They do a fake out, it was all a dream bit, which had me very worried, because if it really was all a dream, I would be very mad, because I wasted so much time with this show, and I really would have hated if that was the way they ended it. God. But no, instead, Nick and his mother set out to go find Nick's father. This is some plot out straight out of Sonic Underground, I swear to God. Who was kidnapped by Gorm, and we get the reveal that Gorm is still alive, he's still here, he's still doing stuff. And it sets up for a third season, which obviously never happened. No, I'm being for real this time. There was no third season. I don't know why they were so confident they would get a third season, especially with how terrible Galidor did, but I guess they thought they'd get the third season. They didn't get it. So this plot point is just never finished, and the show ends on a cliffhanger, which is definitely a way to finish it off, I guess. I don't really know what to think about Galidor overall, because it wasn't bad. It was actually pretty good in parts. I think Galidor, strangely enough, had all of the pieces to be a genuinely good show that is actually enjoyable. Like, all the pieces were there. They just didn't quite know how to put those pieces together. Like, this world, these characters, except Nick Bluetooth's name, that's horrible. But all these characters, Nepal, Jens, they're all there. They're all real characters with real past input into them. There is something here, but they just didn't know what to do with it. Genuinely, I think the biggest downfall of Galidor was that it was live action. Making this so live action was probably the worst idea they possibly could have done. This is early 2000s, so CG isn't great, especially for a lower budget Lego show. They didn't have the greatest CG. The acting feels very weird, especially with some of the scenes with Nick Bluetooth, to where you can tell he is just acting alone. He is just on a green screen, and he is acting completely alone. There is nobody else in the room with him. He's just doing things. And I feel like it makes the show feel very awkward and weird. If Galidor was animated, dare I say, it could have actually worked. I think it would have been really good, because you could tell the story, you could have these little creatures and all these goofy fellas, and maybe even go crazier with all these goofy creature designs, if they weren't being held back by early 2000 CG and budget. But sadly, Galidor will be remembered as one of the worst LEGO themes to ever exist. And, of course, the LEGO theme is still awful. The actual theme and sets are still just diabolical. I don't know what they were thinking by just making action figures. It wasn't gonna work the way they wanted it to work. And yeah, that idea kinda transferred over with Bionicle, but Bionicle had a silly gimmick, something to be interested in. And Galidor just didn't have any of that. I don't know. Overall, Galidor is definitely one of the weirdest, most polarizing things I've ever watched. Because on one hand, I found myself enjoying it, but on the other hand, I found myself being like, wow, this was so close to being genuinely good that I kinda just feel sad now. With that downer of an ending, I'm gonna go right ahead and end this video here. Thank you all for watching. Let me take you to the outro. Thanks for watching this silly video. This video took way longer than expected to make. I'm sorry, but I did technically stay true to my word. I did upload another video this month, so yeah, we're doing pretty good on that regard. It was supposed to come out like 2 weeks ago, but it just didn't. Sorry about that, chat. Hopefully next month's video should be out sooner. I'm already planning that one, and it should be better. I can't actually promise that, because I'm gonna promise it and it's not gonna happen. People are gonna yell at me, but we're making progress. I would say I was busy, but to be honest, I was just playing Marvel Rivals. Seriously, I am addicted to that game. It is way, way, way too good. They just added the Sing and Human Torch to that game. Duh, they're making so much good content. I can't wait for the future of that game. It looks so good. But yeah, this month didn't really go according to plan with content. It just didn't. I was meant to upload a bit more this month, especially on the second channel, since over there I uploaded a total of 0 videos. I was gonna upload more, but I just didn't get around to it. I was working on this video and of course playing Marvel Rivals. I do have some videos filmed for the second channel. I just need to edit them and post them, so hopefully those will be out soon. They're nothing insane, but they are just some extra meg content if you want to see that. It's all gonna be pretty good over there. So yeah, I don't really have too much to say for this outro, so I'm probably just gonna leave it there. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I will see you all next time. Bye bye.